Avi Mograbi, how are you?
Ciao Vincenzo, how are you?
I'm fine. And you? I can imagine you are in good health considering that you have been vaccinated. It's a good feeling.
Yes, well, I'm very well. It's
Okay.
it's very strange to premiere a film while in your pajamas, but well, I'm adjusting to this new format. This is my first online festival, and I hope it will die very soon. This format.
So I do hope, do hope the same. So I do hope this next Berlinale will be a real one and not a digital one. So I definitely need to talk with people live and not only with the screen. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Avi, thank you very much for accepting our invitation to talk a little bit about this film, The First 54 Years, Manual for Military Occupation, invited by the forum. And just some questions. I have read in the presentation you wrote for the film, my films tend to get complicated, and even when my intention is to make a very simple film, many things get tricky. So what do you mean? Is the general attitude of your cinema or is this particular one?
I don't think it's a general attitude of my cinema. This is how documentary is. It's one thing to uh, conceive a project, to think about what you want to do, and to prepare yourself for the shoot or for the making of the film. But documentary has to do with real life, with reality, and reality has its own effects on the finished product. It doesn't. Unlike a fiction film where your talent as a director determines how the film will come out, will be. In a documentary, you also have to deal with a feedback that the reality or the materials that you're using is projecting on you, and you have to adjust to that. So sometimes you stick to the original idea and insist on doing what you were planning. And I have the tendency to think that failure is part of the creation of the project. And once you realize that you have gone in the wrong way or have wrong preconceptions, you have to change your project and live with it.
Okay. Would you say that this film is a kind of a case study, and it's possible to have a case study about occupations? I mean, occupations of the country or of the region.
Well, this film obviously wants to deal with the very specific occupation of the Israeli occupation of the Palestinian territories in the West Bank, in Gaza Strip, but which is one particular case. Maybe a well-known case, probably the longest occupation in modern history. But the film also aims to be to deal with a more universal thesis of what occupation is. And the film, I think, can provide thoughts and ideas for people in other occupations or people who experienced or participated in other occupations as to what is the logic behind an occupation.
Would you describe, the main topic of our World Cinema Fund Day today is decolonization. So it's about colonization, post-colonization, decolonization is possible. Would you describe the Israeli occupation as a colonial act?
Of course, the Israeli occupation is a settler colonialist project. But unlike other colonialisms, like European colonialisms in Africa and Asia, um, the Israeli occupation is not after the natural resources or the human resources of the occupied land. We are not there to get the gold or to get the workers to work in our country. The Israeli occupation, the treasure that the Israeli occupation pursues is the land itself. Israel wants to enlarge itself and into the territories of the West Bank in Gaza, and this is the nature of this colonialist occupation.
Thank you very much, Avi. I would like to show the first clip, please.
כל
Thank you.
הזיכרונות קשורות להעלה הזאת. אני נכנסתי לבתים, ולא נכנסנו, אני נכנסתי, זה לא שהייתי לבד, אבל אני רק על עצמי אספר. התחלתי לפגוע באבא, בילדה, בילד, באמא, לשבור את הבית. ולא עצרתי, לא...
So thank you very much. So it was a clip of the film with an interview partner, and this partner probably belongs to also to the organization of Breaking the Silence, or has been interviewed by the organization Breaking the Silence. Can you a little bit explain what this organization is doing, and if so you work together in order to develop the project of this film?
Yes, Breaking the Silence is an organization of veteran Israeli soldiers that was founded in 2004. I'm involved in this organization. I was one of the founders. And the mission that this organization took upon itself is to make the Israeli occupation of the Palestinian territories visible again to Israelis, because or decades of governments from all sides, Labor governments and Likud governments, have succeeded in turning the occupation invisible. If you travel to the West Bank today and you are Jewish, you can travel for hours from settlement to settlement without seeing Palestinians. Israel has created a huge network of highways detouring all the most of the Palestinian settlements. So this is the organization, and their method of working is by collecting testimonies from soldiers who served in the occupied territories and publicize them. And normally, the time frame that they set for themselves was from the year 2000 and on, because this is when they served. These are young people, most of them under 30. So they collected testimonies from the year 2000 and on. But in the last few years, Breaking the Silence has taken on a big project of collecting testimonies of people who served since 1967, since the end of the 67 war. And as the filmmaker in this group, I started editing those testimonies you know, just to be able to determine what the organization can do with them. And then I realized that there was a larger film to make out of it, not just publicize single testimonies or compilations, short compilations of testimonies, but to make a more comprehensive film about the occupation as a big body.
Thank you very much. I would like to show the second clip now. Thank you.
מישהו הפך למבוקש בכפר מסוים. עכשיו אתה רוצה לאתר אותו. השב"כ לא מצליח לאתר אותו, הוא מתחבא באיזשהו מקום, אז אתה מתחיל ליישם ענישה קולקטיבית. אחד המופעים היותר שגרתיים זה מה שנקרא כינוס גברים. כינוס גברים, אתה בא נניח בשעה 12 בלילה, ואתה מוציא את כל הגברים החוצה. עכשיו אתה מחזיק אותם בחוץ. אתה מחזיק אותם בחוץ, לפעמים עד 5 בבוקר, לפעמים עד 6 בבוקר, לפעמים אפילו יותר. לא כפותים, עומדים ומה שנקרא עוברים תחקיר די מרושל, זאת אומרת שם משפחה, מי אתה מכיר אותו, לא. העניין היה בענישה של הכפר.
So we saw the statement of the representative of older generation of soldiers. But my question now is, what about young soldiers now? Do you think that they understand the sense of the occupation? Does the occupation make sense to them?
Look, it's very difficult to understand how we are brought up by the education system, by our families, to believe that Israel is a country that has to defend itself all the time from the enemies that surround us, and that serving in the army is sacred. And I also served in the army in the late 70s. I did my service, and I think that many people who enter the service do not really understand what it takes. I'm not saying that all of them will come out with the full understanding of what an occupation means and what the occupation has taken upon itself to do, and how it terrorizes the lives of the Palestinians under occupation. But some do, and definitely those who founded Breaking the Silence were kids who went very highly voluntarily, willingly into the service, and while doing what they were ordered to do, has understood something about the horrific nature of a military occupation. And this is what brought to the foundation of Breaking the Silence.
Okay, thank you very much, Avi, for this conversation. Thank you very much for introducing the film to us, and I do hope to see you soon live and not on the screen as a human being with body.
Thank you, Vincenzo, for having me, and thank you for supporting, for the World Cinema Fund to support this film. It's a very important contribution.
Thank you, Avi.
And hope to have a drink with you.
Ciao, ciao. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Ciao.
Ciao.